Now you want these clients to have pain points which are recurring, like multiple clients should face that. Okay, if you're, for example, what could be a equivalent, if you are basically arguing a basic structure case in the court, there should be 100 clients or at least 100 future matters where you can use that and challenge statutes for clients based on the argument that this violates the basic structure. Okay, so the recurringness of that has to be there. It cannot be one time I did this and now it's over. Okay, because that means that got exhausted there and I didn't solve a pain point. Now most of us as lawyers, we say that I do RERA work, I do consumer cases, I do family litigation, I do matrimonial cases, not clearly addressing a pain point. Okay, like I can help you enforce employment contract from breach by employees. I can prevent your IP, I can help you prevent IP from getting stolen. I can help directors from, I can save directors from the risk of arrest, okay, or risk of misstatements in any annual reports. Okay, that's a pain point. I can what else can be a pain point? I can help you plan transactions in a way that you save costs and tax. Okay, that's a pain point, and within that pain point there may be 20-30 services. You may need to advise them on subject 1, subject 2, then you may need to do some some contract review, you may need to do some contract drafting, you may need to do some litigation. Now all of that falls under different subjects, it doesn't matter, and different forums, different kinds of legal work. But we are looking at the situation in the way that the client will look at you, right? So we want to find out pain points which are recurring. If there is an OTT platform or over the top services platform like a Netflix, Amazon Prime, Voot, Alt Balaji, any of these, their problem is going to be pain point. Uh, how do I acquire content? How do I create original content to which I have IP to? How do I maximize the value from my distribution? Okay, how do I create more regional content, and what is the legal work needed to do that? How do I prevent piracy? Okay, how do I prevent someone from, let's say, using a VPN legally? What action do I take if I find out that somebody from India was using a VPN to access US content that Netflix provides? Okay, now that's a pain point, and you want to find out valuable recurring pain points. Okay, is my voice clear, or is it disturbing? Okay, then discoverability. Okay, so this is the back end, right? Industry focus is your prep. Clients who have the ability to pay is your preparation. Pain points which are recurring is again your preparation. Now, that preparation, how is it going to count? 2-3 steps. Okay, discoverability is one. Somebody, a client, needs to know that you exist. Most of the times we don't. I know of people who don't have an active LinkedIn profile. I know of lawyers who are networking with other lawyers but not networking with clients. I know lawyers who say I only want to talk to the in-house counsel or the general counsel of the company to get legal work, but they don't want to talk to the sales head, the business head, the finance manager, the HR head. Okay, but those are also places where you can get work from. Okay, now so how should clients be able to find you? Okay, now I am going to focus on the incoming part and not the outgoing part. Outgoing meaning, I'm not saying that you initiate a one-on-one conversation and cold call people. I'm not saying that, no. Okay, you don't want to solicit, you don't want to do that. So people, the clients will find you because we discovered this. People are googling, clients are searching on the internet for their pain points, and you know where people hang out, right? People are hanging out on Google, they're searching for information, they're watching videos on YouTube, and they're using social media to interact. Okay, even if they are on Facebook or Instagram, they don't mind receiving relevant information, right? So if they find you or somebody else share your content over there, then they will find you unconsciously if it's on their newsfeed, consciously if somebody shares that content, or if they search for something. Let's say somebody searches for how to get a microbrewery license and your content shows up, or somebody says what to do if I lose a case in the CIT appeal, or another person says that how do I get my Article 226 writ petition admitted. Okay, or somebody says that how do I look somebody looks for how do I get a proof of claim rejected by the resolution professional. Another person says, how do I initiate proceedings in an international commercial arbitration? Can I get heard through video conferencing by an international institution? Okay, so clients will Google that. People who are facing pain points will Google that. People will not Google services and they will not Google service providers. Okay, so they will not Google like uh, they will not Google, I need a notice of commencement of arbitration. Why? Because this is technical. A lawyer has to go through the facts and understand and identify that. But they may Google what to do if I don't get payment on time, what to do to break free from a contract. They may Google a few things like that, okay, general stuff. And then you have to drive from the general to the specific so that people discover your content. Okay, it's not easy to do. You might think that I have to keep only the basics, but when people write general stuff, they just don't write to any point. That happens a lot of times. Okay, so writing to the point is going to be really important. Then so discoverability, then thought leadership. You are discovered, but how are you discovered? Are you discovered as just another person in a yellow pages directory, or are you being perceived as a thought leader by potential clients? Okay, what does thought leadership mean, by the way? Is it that only people who are 20 years into the profession can only they can be experts? Like when we started Super Lawyer and we used to interview lawyers, so many successful lawyers, according to us, they said that I don't have enough, I don't think I'm a super lawyer. Okay, so they had an issue with the some attribution of status to them. Okay, now point is not that. The point is that you have certain insights that you can acquire and share. If you don't have, then please acquire and then share. But those insights are not going to be measured by how many years you spent arguing in court, or how many years, like when did you graduate and how many years of experience you have. That is dead experience. Unless you, if you say I argued like 100 cases and I have spent 50-60 hours arguing in trial courts, that is some experience. But most lawyers do, for most lawyers, experience doesn't go like that. Experience is just like 8 years of experience. Okay, it's very generic. If that's the case, then what happens is that you can beat that experience by something as simple as writing 50 articles on a particular topic. And I'll tell you why. If you write 50 articles on a particular topic, let's say international commercial disputes, okay, and where you focus on arbitration and mediation being used, and you also write about how to draft contracts better to minimize the chances of dispute. Okay, if you write that, then chances are that you will develop, you will be working on a problem way more. So your thought leadership is on the pain point. Okay, your discoverability also is around the pain point. It is not on I'm the best lawyer who drafts arbitration documents in court. Okay, no, I am the, you have to be working for more and more hours solving a problem and producing work. Okay, now that work, even if it's not a not a court petition, not arguing in the court, but you've written on it and you've written in a way that somebody can understand it, chances are that you would have developed a lot more expertise than somebody who goes to court and practices. And this frequently happens. I've got 1 year of practicing experience, and yet I have been able to guide people on important areas. With people who've got 7, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years of experience, I've helped them identify issues that they never thought existed on different areas of law on which I didn't even practice. So the why does that happen? Because I didn't go to court or I didn't work in a law firm after 1 year of practice, but I've been spending time, more time than them, thinking of the problems that a potential client faces. And I have been thinking of the subject in 10 different directions. So if they were doing civil litigation and arbitration, I was looking at 10 other ways of how the other side can enforce things against them. So what matters here is that how powerfully you are thinking of the problem, how much effort you're spending on it, and what results you're producing after that. And you can produce that result in the writing. And now this is the biggest invention or the benefit that you can have in this decade. Okay, because well, everybody doesn't get arguing time before a Supreme Court bench, but you get, everybody has the same amount of opportunity to write and publish, create articles on the internet. Of course, you need to learn how to do that, how to express yourself, how to write more, how to take out time. And for that, help is available. But the opportunity is the same, right? Then what else do you need? You need a bouquet of services, right? From, there are two concepts, okay, gateway services and high value services. The problem that people have is that they either have only gateway or low value services, so they'll only do trademark registration. After a client has got 1 or 2 brands registered, unless they make 20 brands, their one brand is registered and it's sorted. Now, trademark registration, you have many competitors in the market. Company incorporation, tax filing, tax returns, you have many competitors in the market, can't charge a lot more. But now imagine you got the company incorporated, that client has scaled operations by 100 times. Okay, so from a 10 lakh company, this has become a 10 crore company. Don't you want to solve a legal problem for that client? Right? And you can literally ask, talk to the client about what's going on in their business. And if you know that how a business works and where a business faces problems, you will guide the client to those areas to say that, no, I don't have anything to deal with this. Can you help me here? Okay. Now, that is a high value service. And the more high value services you can deliver, the more clients you can get, the more profitable your practice will be, the more revenue you will realize by serving one client. Okay, which means you will be willing to invest that much more in client generation, because one client is worth a lot to you. Okay, and that also means that you will have a lot of patience for a client. And that also means that when a client asks you for a discount, you will not get frustrated and angry and you will not blast the client, but you will be like, okay, I let me explain why this is possible or why this is not possible. But your patience will be higher, your capacity to accommodate the client will be higher, right? And you will look at client generation in a very, very exciting way. Okay.